One of the things that students need to know when they take pre-AP geometry is how to factor a quadratic. And so I have a simple quadratic on here, x squared plus x minus 6. And what we need to do is find the factored form. So if you look at the bottom here, you want to have two sets of parentheses with an x in the front of the first one and in the front of the second one. Okay, that's our goal. And then we need to find some numbers that go right here and here, and they could be positive or negative. So I'm going to erase those out. Okay, and so first thing I like to do is get the coefficients, the numbers right here, here, and here of each term. So you'll see I already wrote it. So this first coefficient is called A, and its value is 1. The second coefficient is called B, and its value is also positive 1. And the final it's not really a coefficient on a variable, it's just a constant, is negative 6. And so we have to ask ourselves, what numbers, we always want to get our factors, we want to know what numbers multiply to a certain number and then add to another number. So what numbers multiply? 1 times 6, so A times C equals negative 6. And then what do you want to add to? You want to add to the middle term, which is B. So what we're saying is, what numbers multiply to negative 6 but still add to the number 1? And so we can try some different possibilities. The first possibility is just to go 1 times negative 6. And we see 1 times negative 6 is negative 6. So it meets the multiplication criteria. But now we have to check if it adds to 1. So I'm going to try. 1 plus negative 6 equals negative 5. And so it fails on that criteria. So we don't want that one there, so I'm going to erase that. So we don't want 1 and negative 6. So let's try negative 1 and 6. Negative 1 times 6 equals negative 6. And that works. So now we have to do negative 1 plus 6 equals 5. And unfortunately that one fails as well. So we're not going to use negative 1 and 6 as well as our numbers. So I'm going to try again. Okay, so get rid of that one. And by the way, you can do a lot of this part in your head. I'm just showing it slowly on here. So I can try negative 3 times 2. That definitely equals negative 6. And then I can go negative 3 plus 2 equals negative 1. And I'm excited because it's looking, this looks very much like this, but not quite. So it still fails, but I know I'm getting close. And so probably I just have to change the sign to 3 times negative 2 equals negative 6. That's good. And then 3 plus negative 2, some of you just do 3 minus 2. And you get 1, and it passes on both those things. So we're going to use 3 and negative 2 to do our factoring. So I'm going to erase a bunch of this stuff. And I'm going to write it down the way that we usually want to see it. We said it was 3 and negative 2. So I'm going to write 3 and negative 2. That 3 is positive. And the only thing I have to do is check. I should go back and check using FOIL. First, outside, inside, last. So I want to check the first. There's your F. X times X is X squared. Then I'm going to check the outside. So I'm going to go X times negative 2. So X times negative 2 is normally written negative 2X. Then I want to do the inside. 3 times X which is 3x. And then I want to do the last ones. X times negative, excuse me, the last ones, I just made a mistake there. I want to do the last ones, 3 times negative 2. 3 times negative 2, which is negative 6. And you'll notice here x squared has no other partner to add or subtract with, but negative 2x and positive 3x leaves you positive 1x, or just x. So we've got this one, we've got these two dealt with, and then we have this negative 6. There's no other normal numbers there, and we'll see we're back to what we started with over here. So it looks like we factored it correctly, and so this is my final answer right here. Here's my final answer right here. I already had it right, and I x plus 3 in parentheses, and then x minus 2 in parentheses, and you factored it. We'll try another one in a second here.